Welcome back to my channel after a few days since I've celebrated my Islamic wedding, my nikah. So I'm back. My name is Niyama. I'm your host. My friends call me Nia. I'm your big sister, and I became a published author in February 2021. So welcome back to my channel. If you are a new subscriber, I appreciate you, and if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much. This is the place to be if you like books, if you're a bookworm like me, if you enjoy reading. So welcome to the book club for life. So the last time I was explaining and reviewing this amazing book, 40 Hadith by Imam An-Nawawi. So we stopped at the Hadith encouraging believers to be mindful of their actions, as well as to strive to make every act of a charitable act to gain the reward from God, Allah, for our good deeds. So let's continue. The Hadith I'm going to start tonight's episode is Hadith about minor acts being valuable. Each person's every joint must do a charity every day the sun rises. So this is a very well-known hadith that emphasizes the value of minor acts of charity. So it is narrated by Abu Dhar, may Allah be pleased with him, radiallahu anhu, that's in Arabic, may Allah be pleased with him, radiallahu anhu, that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, blessing of Allah, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, he said, I'm going to read, your smile for your brother is a charity. Your removal of stones, thorns, and bones from people's path, meaning on the road, is a charity. Your guidance of a person who is lost is a charity. Your showing the way to someone who is lost and being patient with them is a charity. Amazing, right? That's a beautiful statement. There's another hadith also related to the topic. Okay, it's narrated by Abu Huraira, may Allah be pleased with him, radiallahu anhu, where the Prophet, peace and blessing of Allah, said, every joint of a person must perform a charity every day the sun rises. To act justly between two people is a charity. To help a person with his mount, lifting him onto it or hoisting up his belongings onto it is a charity. A good word is a charity, and removing a harmful thing from the road is a charity. These hadiths actually highlight the importance of performing minor acts of kindness and also minor acts of charity, in our daily lives. Are very important. As Muslims, we're supposed to think about even small actions that can have a significant impact and also hold great value in the eyesight of God, Allah. So therefore, we should strive to engage in these acts regularly and consistently. All right, the next hadith is about righteousness. So there are several hadiths that mention the concept of righteousness. So I'm going to give you a few here. So narrated by Abu Dhar, may Allah be pleased with him, radiallahu anhu, the Prophet, blessing and peace of Allah be upon him, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, and I'm going to read it for you. Righteousness is good character, and sin is that which creates doubt, and you do not like people to know of it. That's a hadith in the book Muslim. So this one hadith emphasizes the righteousness is not just about performing good deeds, but also about cultivating good character. So it encourages us believers to maintain a high moral standard, as well as to avoid engaging in action that may create doubt or bring about a negative perception. And then there's another narration where Abu Huraira, radiallahu anhu, may Allah be pleased with him, he narrated that the Prophet of Allah, Muhammad, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said, and I'm going to read it, verily, Allah does not look at your appearance or wealth, but rather he looks at your heart and actions. That's a hadith found in authentic book of narration, Hadith Muslim. So this hadith emphasizes that true righteousness is not based on outward appearances or material possession, but rather it lies in the sincerity of one's heart, and as well as the actions that spring forth from it. So it reminds us that Allah, God, the Creator, values the inner qualities of individuals more than our external appearances. Then there's another hadith that is narrated by Abu Huraira, may Allah be pleased with him, radiallahu anhu, who said that the Prophet of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, blessing and peace of Allah be upon him, said, "Righteousness is in good character, and wrongdoing is that which wavers in your soul, and you disliked it to be known by people." So I just read it. It's in the authentic book of Bukhari. So this hadith highlights the importance of upholding righteousness in both your actions as well as your intentions. And also it teaches that righteousness, meaning true righteousness, is really manifested through good character, and it discourages engaging in actions that may contradict these qualities or conceal wrongdoing. So these hadiths that I just mentioned, among many others, they serve as the reminders for believers to really strive for righteousness and do that in our thoughts, in our words, and also as well as in our actions. And it emphasizes that really the importance of displaying good character and sincerity, as well as avoiding wrongdoings in our interaction with other people, may they be Muslim or Christian or Jewish or, from other faiths, or even if they have no faith, they are atheists, for example. And also how we behave in our relationship with God, the Creator, Allah Himself. All right, let's move on to the next hadith. So this is the hadith about keeping the Prophet's sunnah. Sunnah means in Arabic example, the way of the Prophet. So we're following the last and final messenger who came after every other prophet and messenger came that was sent by God. And that man is Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's what we Muslims believe. Blessing and peace of Allah be upon him. So this hadith emphasizes the importance of following his way, because this is the best way as believers. If we truly believe in God and in the hereafter, that we know we are going to be resurrected after our death and be judged by God. So I'm going to give you 3 examples regarding this particular hadith. Okay, the number one is Abdullah ibn Amr, may Allah be pleased with him, radiallahu anhu, that said that the Prophet, blessing and peace of Allah be upon him, said, I'm going to read what the Prophet said. "Whoever holds fast to my sunnah," meaning to my example, when my community is corrupt, my ummah means community, whoever holds fast to my example will be rewarded with the reward of 100 martyrs. That's found in the authentic book of narration called Hadith at-Tirmidhi. So this hadith highlights the significance of adhering to the Prophet's example, his sunnah, especially during times when corruption and deviation prevail. And he also promises a great reward for those who steadfastly follow his teachings amidst social challenges. So the more you hold on steadfast, the better you are as a Muslim and as a believer, especially in these times where there's so many different problems all around the world. And we see corruption, we see a lot of filth, especially with children being always shown pornographic videos, images online, and just a lot of craziness going on around the world. You just open your window or you just step outside and you start seeing so many things going on. All right, there's another hadith that's narrated by Aisha, the wife of the Prophet. May Allah be pleased with her, radiallahu anha. So she reported that the Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, blessing and peace of Allah be upon him, he said, and I'm going to read what he said: "Whoever innovates something in this matter of ours," meaning in Islam, that is not from it will have it rejected. So this is a very important narration and hadith found in both books of narrations, Bukhari book and also Muslim book. So these were two imams, and they named Bukhari, and there's one named is Muslim, and they both narrated this. So this hadith really warns us against introducing any innovation or practices into Islam that are not aligned with the teachings of the Prophet. So it emphasizes that we need to really adhere strictly to the Sunnah, to his example, and anything outside of it may be rejected. Then the third hadith will be the one narrated by Abu Huraira, may Allah be pleased with him, radiallahu anhu, who said that the Prophet said, I'm going to read what the Prophet said, that he heard the Prophet say, I am leaving among you two matters. As long as you hold fast to them, you will never go astray. The book of Allah and my example, my sunnah. That's in Muwatta Malik. So this hadith highlights the guidance and protection provided by following both the Quran and the Sunnah, meaning the example of the Prophet, because he assured us that when we hold on to these two sources, that will ensure that we remain on the straight path, and also we avoid going astray. So this is super important. These hadiths, along with many others, they emphasize the importance of adhering to the Prophet's Sunnah, to his example, as a means to maintain religious guidance as well as righteousness and also protection from deviation. So they serve as a reminder for believers to closely follow his teachings and also his way of life in all aspects of our life. So it's not just religiously ritual that we perform, like the prayer, like the fasting. It's also in dealing with people and dealing with business partners, and treating neighbors, co-workers, parents, relatives, friends, in every aspect of our life. All right, next hadith. Tonight we're going to do 10 hadiths, and then I do the last 5 ones. I do them tomorrow at tomorrow episode. So the hadith about deeds that admits you into paradise. Don't you want to know? Yeah, I think everyone want to know. So there are several hadiths that mention specific actions or deeds that can lead a person to paradise. So I'm going to show you a few. Okay, narrated by Abu Huraira, may Allah be pleased with him, radiallahu anhu. He said that the Prophet said, I'm going to read what the Prophet said, what he heard the Prophet say. Whoever believes in Allah and the last day should do good to his neighbor. That's a hadith, authentic narration found in the book Sahih Muslim. So this one hadith highlights the importance of treating one's neighbors with kindness, compassion, patience, with a smile, and also doing good towards them. So it emphasizes that this action is not only a moral obligation towards your neighbor, but it can also be a means of attaining paradise. So Islam definitely speaks about neighbors and how they have rights over you as a Muslim person, as a Muslim neighbor to them. You're supposed to be kind, you're supposed to be generous, you're supposed to go from time to time, knock on their door, check how they're doing, ask them if they need anything, and just tell them, I was just checking on you. How are you? It's so important. We're human beings, we put on this earth to help one another, to be kind to each other. All right, the second hadith is the one narrated by Abu Huraira, may Allah be pleased with him, radiallahu anhu. He said that he heard the Prophet say, I'm going to read what he said, the Prophet said, whoever believes in Allah and the last day, let him speak goodness or remain silent. So that's in both books, Bukhari as well as Muslim, the two books of narrations or hadith books. So this one hadith emphasizes the importance of guarding one's tongue, meaning be careful what you say, and also speaking only that which is good and beneficial. Even people that are non-Muslim, they teach that in school. Think before you speak and only say things that are kind, that are pleasing, that is helpful. So it highlights the significance of avoiding harmful or idle speech, as it can have a negative impact on others as well as on your own character. All right, the third hadith regarding this particular topic is narrated by Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, radiallahu anhu, may Allah be pleased with him, he heard the Prophet say, I'm going to read what he heard the Prophet say, the one who guides to something good will have a reward similar to that of its doer. Sahih Muslim is found in the book of Sahih Muslim. So this one hadith emphasizes the virtue of guiding others towards good deeds as well as beneficial actions, and he highlights the reward that is earned not only by performing a good deed but also by guiding and encouraging others to do the same. So when you teach someone to do something good, when they do it, you also gain the reward as if you have done it yourself. So that's amazing. Islam is so beautiful. So these hadiths that I just said to you, sister, among many others, they provide guidance on specific actions as well as behaviors that can lead to paradise. So they emphasize the importance of doing good to others, neighbors, co-workers, your relatives, total strangers, and also speaking kindly and guiding others towards doing good deeds, towards righteousness. So by incorporating these actions into your life, my dear sister, you can strive towards attaining the reward of paradise. Amen. All right, the next hadith is about the limits set by Allah. So there's a well-known hadith that highlights the importance of adhering to the limits set by Allah. And it goes as follows, narrated by Ibn Abbas, radiallahu anhu, may Allah be pleased with him. He heard the Prophet say, verily Allah has set sacred limits, so do not violate them. It's in Bukhari and it's in this book. So this hadith emphasizes the sanctity and also the significance of the limits set by Allah. It reminds believers, Muslims, of the importance of respecting as well as abiding by these boundaries in both their actions as well as their conduct. And of course, Allah has already established His limits, these limits as a means of establishing justice, promoting harmony, and also preserving the well-being of individuals and society at large. So we have to be very careful as Muslims to adhere to these. So there's another hadith that emphasizes also the importance of staying within the limits set by Allah. So it's narrated by Abu Huraira, may Allah be pleased with him, radiallahu anhu. He heard the Prophet say, avoid the prohibitions and you will be the best worshippers among the people. Be content with what Allah has given you and you will be the richest of people. Be good to your neighbors and you will be a believer. Love for others what you love for yourself and you will be a Muslim. Do not laugh too much, for excessive laughter kills the heart. That's a hadith narration found in At-Tirmidhi. So this hadith highlights various aspects of staying within the limits set by Allah, God, such as avoiding prohibitions, being content, and also treating others well. And it reminds you that by adhering to these limits, you can embody the qualities of a true believer as well as fulfill your obligation towards God, your creator, Allah, and also towards your fellow human beings. So in summary, all these hadiths that I just mentioned, they remind us of the importance of respecting and adhering to the limits set by God, Allah, the creator, the God of Abraham, of Noah, of Moses, of Jesus, of everyone, even of you, my sister, or my brother, if you're listening. So by staying within these boundaries, individuals can lead a righteous and balanced life that aligns with the teachings of Islam. And remember, sister, or if you are new to my channel and you're not a Muslim and you're just hearing me now, well, Islam is an Arabic word and it simply means submission to the Creator. That's it. All right. Hadith that says, O Messenger of Allah, direct me to an act which, if I do it, will cause Allah to love me and people to love me. So this is a well-known hadith that addresses the request, and it is as follows. I'm going to read it to you. So it was narrated by Anas, may Allah be pleased with him, radiallahu anhu. A man came to the Prophet of God, Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, and that man asked the Prophet, he said, O Messenger of Allah, direct me to an act which, if I do it, will cause Allah to love me and people to love me. So the Prophet responded, renounce the world and Allah will love you. Renounce what people possess and people will love you. and it's in authentic Hadith in Ibn Majah. It's found in Ibn Majah. So this Hadith really highlights the importance of prioritizing your devotion to God, your Creator, Allah, over worldly possession and desires. So it teaches that if we detach ourselves from the materialistic aspects of life, and if we focus on pleasing God first and foremost, and we prioritize the hereafter, not this life here, because we believe that there's another life after we die. So if we prioritize that life, right, then God will love us, because he said that this world, this life, it doesn't mean anything to him. It's the hereafter that is the real life and the most important. So furthermore, by showing contentment with what Allah has already granted us, what he has given us, and not being attached to the worldly possessions, not being materialistic, not being vain people, well, we will also have people that will incline to love us and also to respect us. So the essence of this hadith lies in seeking the pleasure of Allah, God, our Creator, above all else, and not being overly attached to worldly matters, because that is not the way to go. And by practicing moderation also and contentment, and also focusing on the eternal rewards for the hereafter, then we can earn the love and respect of both God and also people around us. That's what this hadith is teaching. All right, next hadith, which is found in this book. The hadith that says, neither harming nor reciprocating harm. So this following hadith emphasizes the principle of neither causing harm nor responding in kind, meaning somebody does harm to you, so you go and harm them too, like somebody go and steal your car, and you go and steal from their bank account, for example, something like that. So it was narrated by Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, radiallahu anhu. He said that he heard the Prophet say, do not cause harm or return harm. That's in Hadith Ibn Majah. So this Hadith, the Prophet advises us to refrain from causing harm to others as well, physically, verbally, emotionally, mentally. So additionally, the Hadith highlights the importance of not retaliating with harm when we are faced with harm from other people. May they be our relative, may they be our neighbor, our friend, co-worker, boss. So this principle encourages us Muslims to respond to harmful situations with actually patience, forgiveness, and also kindness and compassion, because you never know what people are going through when they are mean and cruel to you. You have to also come from a different angle and try to put yourself in their shoes and realize why they're acting that way. So that's what I believe, and that's what I understand this hadith is saying. So by adhering to this particular guidance, we strive to promote peace, harmony, and also mutual respect in our interactions with others. So the principle is neither harming nor reciprocating harm, because it's rooted actually in the broader Islamic concept of maintaining good character, also being forbearant, and also following the example set by the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, because he was exactly like that. He never beat any of his servants, and he was never cruel, he was never abusive. A lot of people may say it's not true, but it is true. He was super kind. Even when the little kids were sent at Taif, a city, to throw stones and rocks at him until his feet were bleeding, he did not retaliate. He did not try to harm the kids and hurt them, or he didn't yell at them, none of that. He was so merciful towards even his worst enemies that tried to kill him. His own people, Arab people. This is amazing. I'm telling you, once you read his biography, you're going to start crying. I'm like, this is not possible. No human being can be like that. That's why he is the best human being ever to have been born, because there's none like him whatsoever. All right, let me continue. I don't want to stay too long. It's almost 25 minutes. All right, the hadith that says, were people to be given in accordance with their claim, men would claim the fortunes and lives of other people. So the hadith I'm referring to is as follows. I'm going to read it to you. It's narrated by Abu Huraira, may Allah be pleased with him, radiallahu anhu, The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said, "By him in whose hand is my life, were it not for some men who would refrain from taking out the sadaqah, the charity, I would have demanded from them their gold and silver, so they would find no person to accept alms from and find no rich person to take it from." That's found in the book of narration, Hadith Bukhari. So in this hadith, the Prophet highlights the importance of voluntary sadaqah, charity in Arabic, sadaqah. So, and the fact that some individuals may refrain from giving it if they were only giving it based on their own personal claims. So he expresses a desire to remove the opportunity for people to claim the wealth of others, indicating that it is through the voluntary act of giving and also charity that the practice is actually imbued with sincerity and reward. So this hadith emphasizes the importance of recognizing the voluntary nature of charity and also the intention behind it. It encourages us Muslims to give in charity, to be kind and generous willingly, without expecting anything in return, ensuring that the act of giving is done purely for the sake of God, Allah, and also for the betterment of society as a whole. All right, let's move on. The hadith on prohibiting the evil that is part of having faith. Yes, indeed, there are several hadiths that highlight the significance of forbidding evil as an essential aspect of Iman, of faith. Iman is the Arabic word which means faith. So one of these hadiths is as follows, narrated by Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, and I'm going to read it for you. Radiallahu anhu, may Allah be pleased with him. So he heard the Prophet say, "Whoever of you sees an evil, let him change it with his hand. And if he's unable to do so, then with his tongue. And if he is unable to do so, then with his heart. And that is the weakest of faith." That's a hadith found in the book of Muslim. So this hadith emphasizes the duty of every Muslim, to female or male, to actively strive to prevent or rectify the presence of evil or wrongdoing. And it also outlines 3 levels of addressing the evil. I'm going to share with you those 3 levels. So first of all, the changing it with your hand. So this refers to taking action, direct action. Really, like physically intervening in order to stop an evil act, such as preventing an act of oppression or injustice. Let's say you see someone running in the street because they just rob a lady, they grab her her purse to steal from her. So now you see that immediately you are going to do all you can to rectify what has happened, the wrongdoing, the evil. So you're going to pursue and chase the person who did that and try to catch him or her so you can retrieve the bag. Number 2 is changing it with your tongue, meaning if you are unable to physically intervene, then you are encouraged to speak out against the evil act, rebuke the wrongdoer, or also advise against it in order to prevent or to rectify the situation. So when you see human trafficking being done and you cannot do anything physically, at least go out there and speak up, or have a blog, or go online and start a channel on YouTube and speak about it. So it can change and people can stop doing human trafficking, for example. Number 3, the third one is changing it with your heart, meaning if you're unable to take action physically and also verbally, meaning you cannot speak up and say anything, then you should absolutely hate it in your heart. And that is the least that you can do. Have that sense of disapproval toward it, like you really detest it, you really hate it, you abhor it. Like when you hear of women or children being abused physically or emotionally, well, maybe there's nothing whatsoever you can do about it, but at least really hate it in your heart. All right, so this is what it says. So by adhering to this guidance, we are reminded of our responsibility to actively promote goodness and also to prevent evil whenever and as well as wherever we encounter it. So ultimately just creating a more righteous and just society, and it's so important. All right, I'm almost at 30 minutes, my beautiful sister. The last hadith of tonight's episode, and tomorrow I will finish the last 5. So it's the hadith I like to finish beautifully. It's the hadith on Islamic brotherhood, yes, and sisterhood, which is very, very important. So a well-known hadith that emphasizes the importance of Islamic brotherhood is as follows, and I'm going to read it to you, my sister, my brother, if you're listening. Narrated by Abu Huraira, may Allah be pleased with him, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, blessing and peace of Allah be upon him, said, a Muslim is the brother of another Muslim. He does not wrong him, nor does he abandon him, nor does he fail him in times of need. Whoever fulfills the need of his brother, Allah, God the Creator, will fulfill his needs. Whoever brings his brother out of a discomfort, Allah, God the Creator, will bring him out of the discomforts of the day of resurrection. And whoever covers the faults of a Muslim, Allah, God the Creator, will cover his faults on the day of resurrection. That's found in both books of Hadith, Bukhari as well as Muslim. So this Hadith is so beautiful. It really captures the essence of Islamic brotherhood and sisterhood, and I love it. So it teaches us Muslims that we are brothers and we are sisters to one another, regardless where we come from, regardless what we look like, regardless of our skin's color, and that we are bound by this amazing faith called Islam, submission to the will of God. So through this bond, we Muslims are obligated to treat each other with kindness, respect, and compassion. So this hadith highlights several important obligations towards fellow Muslims, and I'm going to share with you four obligations. All right, you're a Muslim, so your brother and your sister in Islam, your Muslim brother, your Muslim sister, they have these rights over you. So be very careful and learn to recognize them and know that. So number 1, not wronging one another. So Muslims should not harm or treat their fellow Muslims unjustly. So the principle of fairness and justice should guide their interactions. Number 2, not abandoning one another. So Muslims should support and stand by their brothers and their sisters during times of difficulty and need. So this includes offering moral, emotional, material support whenever it is necessary. Number 3, fulfilling the needs of one another. Yes, Muslims should actively strive to help fulfill the needs of their fellow Muslims. Wherever you hear Muslim having issues, Muslim needing help, yes, you need to provide assistance and also support in times of need. Not only that will strengthen the bonds of brotherhood, of sisterhood, but it also invites the blessing of God. And don't we all want more blessings in our lives, right, sister? All right, number 4, covering the faults of one another. That's exactly what I wanted to speak on today. But I posted too many posts on my community tab, so they told me the daily limit has been reached, so I had to do it tomorrow. But I really wanted to cover this. I'm going to do a special episode just on that, covering the faults of your brother in Islam or your sister in Islam. Yes, Muslims should be protecting their honor and reputation of who? Of their Muslim brothers, of their Muslim sisters. Yes, you should be protective of each other's honor and reputation. You should avoid gossip, backbiting, and also exposing your faults, as well as exposing other people's faults, shortcomings, flaws, because it's so wrong and it's a big sin, and that will incur the wrath and the anger of God towards you, and you do not want that, right, sister? So avoid slandering, spreading lies about someone, especially a Muslim, and also gossiping about another fellow Muslims. If you want people to forgive you, if you want Allah to forgive you, then stay away from this. All right, my beautiful sister. So by practicing these teachings, we can foster a sense of unity and also of togetherness within the Muslim community, which is called Ummah. The community is Ummah, yes. So we will create an environment of love, support, and also moral respect that will embody the true spirit of Islamic brotherhood as well as Islamic sisterhood. So this is what I wanted to end this beautiful episode. My beautiful sister, my brother, if you're watching, and listening to this episode. It is episode 23 tonight, and we are July 31st. Yeah, the last day of July. Tomorrow is August 1st. Wow, time is going so fast. Subhanallah, subhanallah, subhanallah. Glory be to God, to Allah. Yeah, one of the signs of the last day is that time will go so fast. Time is fleeting. All right, thank you so much for watching. It's almost 11 at night. I have another episode podcast to take care of, which is the Healthy Living podcast. So I'm going to upload this one and let YouTube do its job. And I will see you next time. So remember, stay blessed, stay focused, stay learning. I'm your big sister, Nyama. My friends come in here. Be unbreakable.